Swole Patrol. It's the Swole Patrol. Cassey Ho is dope and she's really hot. We're going to talk to her about her YouTube following and Vlogalates. It looks really interesting, but I know I can't do it because my body is broken and I am far too fat. Oh, wait. We got another verse. Dr. Drew, help me out.
I can't. It's over.
Okay. That's right. It came out okay.
Yeah, it's over.
What's up? How are you doing?
I'm good. I just worked out, and now I'm here. I'm excited to be on the podcast.
What do you do when you work out? You say, I just worked out. What does a workout for you look like?
So it's different. It depends on what I'm feeling. But like yesterday, I was on the the Stairmaster doing like a booty routine while watching my favorite TV show. And then today I took a powerlifting class to switch things up a little bit. And normally I do HIIT, which is Pilates intense interval training. So it's like a HIIT workout with Pilates moves. So it just sort of depends. And sometimes I like dancing. I like to switch things up.
I love that you have the kind of diversity in your workout because I think that is important. But at the same time, do you ever get in the problem where you just do what feels best, therefore you're avoiding the stuff that is uncomfortable and might be the most beneficial? Because I know I do that where I want to go to yoga because I know it's best for me, but I'm going to go and I'm going to deadlift 500 pounds because that's what's easiest and most comfortable.
Well, it's also most rewarding. You know what I mean?
Sometimes.
It's
not necessarily true because it's the most immediately rewarding, but I'll tell you, after an hour and a half of hot yoga, I feel like I could jump over the moon. I just don't. It's impossible to get me in there.
I think you got to find that intuitiveness inside, and sometimes it's easy to do the thing that like feels the best, but if you're not seeing progress or changes or whatever your goals are, then you just got to get real with yourself and go to that class you don't want to go to and have an instructor kick your butt if you're not going to do it yourself.
Tell me about the Pilates intense interval training. That I am not, I'll be very honest, I'm not the most well versed in Pilates. I've done it and I know what it is. But to me, like the movements and the holding, the static holding of these movements and the kind of slow and deliberate way in which you go about them seems so counterintuitive to be applied to an interval, How does that work?
Right. So basically, Pilates intense interval training, it's a 28-minute workout. You have 7 moves, and each move is done for 45 seconds with 15 seconds off. You have 4 rounds. So that's how you get to the 28 minutes. And basically, I switch from a cardio to a body weight, to a cardio to a body weight. And so you're really getting your fat burn in there with the cardio parts. And then maybe for the 45 seconds, you're holding a plank, or maybe you're doing side plank dips. And so it's actually such a great workout when you don't have equipment, when you're traveling, and every time it makes me sweat like crazy.
And there's a YouTube video to go with this?
Yeah, and an app. Actually, we just released an app called Pit Pocket. That's PIIT Pocket, where you can drag and drop your own moves and create your own timed workout, which is really, really cool.
That is actually awesome, the application.
And you don't need a Pilates equipment. You can do it in a hotel room kind of thing.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, just even if you want to just do it on your carpet, you don't even need a yoga mat. I mean, the whole point of Vlogalates is to make working out accessible, easy in terms of like the barrier to entry, but then also making it fun for people, because when working out feels like a chore, nobody wants to do it again. You got to make it enjoyable, like a hobby.
So, I have whatever my muscle composition is, and I remember. You won't know anything about this, but there was a series of gym equipments called Nautilus.
Of course I remember.
Well, but the Nautilus had a philosophy that came with it, which was 12 seconds up or 8 seconds up, 12 seconds down. And you had to, it was weird.
Arthur Jones and Nautilus, they were really on the cutting edge of that progressive and that high intensity training.
Right. And I've had trainers since that have sort of put me through motions that reminded me of all that, were a little more intense. And I get nothing out of that.
When you say you get nothing out of that, what does that mean, though?
It means I get this tremendous pump and this feeling of euphoria, and it's gone in 30 minutes, and it's like I didn't work out, and I get no progress no matter what I do. If I'm not doing heavy resistance, I don't go forward. Now, I might be getting things out of it in terms of, sort of exercise capacity, or maybe my oxygen carrying or my ability to remove lactate is better, or something is improving, but I can't put my finger on it. I don't notice it, as compared to heavy resistance, which, as you know, I resisted that even too with Mark Bell.
Yes.
And when I went to that, it's like, okay, well, this I do. This just works for me.
Fits, yeah. Well, there's something to be said for that, and I'd like to keep
however, if I were traveling and it was between running and doing something like what Cassey's talking about, I would do Cassey's program hands down. I like that. So if I'm looking for, just strictly speaking, an aerobic sort of an experience, although it's not outdoors, but I like this.
But there's something to be said for that, though, Cassey. I mean, do you find that people are? I mean, like, Dr. Drew and I, in kind of different ways, are very typical kind of just muscle heads. And do you find resistance from guys, and I would imagine even gals, that are so addicted to lifting weights and the idea of either hypertrophy or strength?
But Mike, I've gone down the path. I've done yoga fastidiously, and I have lax joints, super laxity. So yoga is like a piece of cake for me. I don't feel anything, and I've gone down the road for years at a time of high intensity.
Well, yeah,
and then I immediately, then all of a sudden, I drift over into heavy. I go, oh, okay. Well, this is home.
This is home.
This is where I get something out of it.
But do you find resistance initially, though, from people who are so addicted to kind of alternative ways of training?
And I bring this up not to be critical. I bring it up just in case somebody's thinking that in their head, by the way. So go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's about being able to be flexible and switch things up and knowing when your body needs that. So, like, for me, for example, I started working out with standard classic Pilates, and in the beginning, like the first couple of years, it really changed my body. Then I got really used to it. My core got really strong, and then I had to switch onto something else. I started doing sprints on a treadmill, and then, I went into weightlifting, and I'm cycling around, so you're constantly challenging your body. And so I think it's really about giving your body different ways to exercise so that you're working all sorts of different things.
How did you develop such an insane following digitally? It's well deserved, and I congratulate you. But there is 20 of you and 20 male versions of you in every single town and every single gym that would love to try to develop that kind of following, and they're all putting up pictures of their workout and their insane abs and ass all over Instagram. But you've really managed to do something that's quite impressive. I mean, what was kind of the secret to that development? And pardon the long question, but also what is it? How did you not fall into the trap of a lot of online trainers where they're not really giving out content, they're more just showing off their body?
Okay, so lots of answers to your question. Yeah. The answer to the last question you asked is because I don't have that type of body. I don't have the luxury of being able to just take a picture of my butt and have people, drool over it. I don't have that. I have a very small butt.
I'll be the judge of that. Go ahead and just send one over. I'll be the judge.
And then, also with my abs, I don't have like a visible six pack or anything, but I do have a strong core. And so for me, what works is the personality. It's the way you teach. And you're absolutely right. There are at least 20 instructors in every city, in every town, all over the world who wants to, have that social media success. But everyone can teach a crunch, but it's about how do you teach that crunch? How do you motivate people in a way that will get them to change their own body or to change their own mental health or whatever it is they're looking for? And so for me, it's always been about connecting with people, creating that trust and relationship. And then obviously people get their results. And for me, it's not about how I look. It's about what our community has done together and creating the relationships between the people who have used the programs. And so that's why YouTube, as my first platform in 2009, worked, because YouTube now it's considered like a long content platform. Videos are like 5 minutes, 10 minutes long, and people get a chance to know me as an instructor, as a person. Whereas on Instagram, if you're basically just judging me on my body, like, to be completely honest, like I don't measure up to those IG models, whatever you want to call them. And so that's why YouTube is my home base and where I get to show my personality and really coach people. Because my whole thing is you've got to create valuable content. Otherwise, don't create the content. That's my opinion anyway.
So she's able to connect through the medium.
Well, and that's honestly very admirable because I would imagine it gets at some points, it becomes a scoreboard type thing where it's like really just gathering followers and gathering, views on Instagram, or excuse me, on YouTube. That becomes the end game and so the fact that you're committed to the content, is impressive. And you say, look, it's not about how I look. I can't imagine as someone who was a female bodybuilder that was always the case. Was there a time in your life where you did maybe in an unhealthy fashion become obsessed with how you looked?
Oh, absolutely. It's so easy to compare yourself against all these people and be like, oh my gosh, I don't look like that, but I work out so hard and I eat so clean and yet this is my body. And it's taken years for me to accept that and accept that it's more than my physical shell. It's about what I can do and it's about getting stronger, really shifting my mindset. Because there was a point in time back in 2012 when I did do a bikini competition because I wanted to see how far I could push myself physically. And within a matter of 8 weeks and really hardcore training with a coach, lots of egg whites, protein powder, and broccoli, and lots of heavy lifting, I lost about 15 or so pounds in 8 weeks and was at my leanest. But even then, my abs were barely visible, just kind of like what my body was like. And when I stepped on stage, even though I was at my leanest, I was such a nasty person. Like my personality was not there. I was mean. I was hungry. And I honestly wasn't able to connect thoughts even. I mean, it was hard for me to run my business. I was so focused on the physical that I lost myself. And after the competition, I was looking at stuff and was like, okay, all the girls who won had, these big boobs, had this big butt. And I was actually contemplating, should I get breast implants so that I can really measure up? And luckily my boyfriend and my family were like, Cassey, you really think about this? Who do you want to be? And is that actually going to positively affect your career? Because we know that your career is what's important to you, not all this other vanity stuff. And are you going to compete in competitions again? And then I ended up not getting the breast implants, and I'm glad I didn't because I'm really happy with my strength gains now. And I've just reshifted my focus and found my progress somewhere else, which is cool.
And it's just an example of how easy it is to get swept up in stuff, right? And it's sort of extraordinary to me that she was able to see her way out.
Absolutely.
Because when you're that deep in it and you're wondering, is it going to make or ruin my career? I don't know how you see your way out.
And I mean this, I want to say that before all the Me Too people start, their ears perk up and start firing off an email, I want to explain myself. It's way harder, I think, for a female.
What is?
To kind of find your way out of becoming body and image obsessive because there's just not that same pressure put on us guys.
Right.
I don't.
Correct. I mean, people have written about that forever. That the beauty and weight and images that women have to consume are just ridiculous. And men, we're getting there. We're catching up.
We sure are. We sure are. And Instagram's not helping. But I still don't think I went through the same stuff, Cassey, where when I was competing, I went into the wrong apartment. My brain was that fucked up. I literally walked into the apartment.
It's crazy. It's so crazy.
I drove. I sat in the parking lot at K-Rock because I drove to work one day, and I just sat in my car. I didn't realize. And 20 minutes went by, and I was like, "Oh shit, where am I?"
Were you sleep deprived? Were you roided out?
I was. Okay. You're so hypocaloric that you can't sleep, and you're so low carb you just can't get any sleep. I had clenbuterol coursing through my veins, and I was 6% body fat. Your body doesn't work that well that way. It just doesn't. It's not designed to work. And
we have a question on this insomnia. I'm going to bring it right now if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
Can I do that? This is from Jonathan. He says, good question for Swole Patrol. I was intermittent fasting for 2 months. Loved it, but developed insomnia. I stopped fasting. It hasn't gone away completely. Used to sleep and nap great. I tried melatonin and magnesium, and has helped at times, but any advice? So it may be the caloric issue for him.
Yeah, absolutely. It is, but that doesn't mean it's hard to gauge. If you're really monitoring your calories, just stay within like a $500 calorie decrease. You start getting too much more than that. You start
500 calorie decrease from what?
From your basal metabolic rate.
Okay. I don't know if it doesn't sound like he's.
Oh yeah, mine was so crazy because I hired this coach that I was like, oh, he has great Yelp reviews, and I was eating 1,000 calories a day and working out 4 hours a day. It was
my God.
crazy. I know. And the crazy part was afterwards, I was so like mentally messed up, thinking like I'm not good enough, all this stuff. So I'm gonna go even harder. I'm gonna do a second bikini competition and get it right this time. But I gave myself like just a little bit of brown rice, like just to add into my chicken breast and broccoli. And I started ballooning up for the next 2 years and like gained more weight than where I was at. Like my body was so messed up. And even like when I ate pizza, I would lose weight. And when I ate salad, I would gain weight. Like it was completely messed up. It was wild.
I don't know how the metabolism works that way, but I found the same way. I only competed twice, but both times I looked way better the day after. I would go out, diet down to nothing. I would get shredded to the bone, and then I'd go out and I'd celebrate by having, 11 hamburgers with ice cream.
Well,
and I wake up the next morning and I looked awesome.
Well, they're.
I heard that people will do that sort of thing, like have a Coke and brownie or something right before they get on stage to like really fill up. I've never tried anything like that. But I'm guessing that's what happens.
Some of it is the glycogen deposition of the muscle, right? So you just all of a sudden and fluid comes with that too. So
veiny and swole. I look like a giant dick. I think a giant dick.
You mean like an asshole or
no, like an actual penis
or both?
My body was a giant penis. Tell us about this national event that's going to be coming up. The 24-Hour Fitness is putting together the Pop Paradise.
Yeah, so basically on August 25th, Pop Pilates, my format, which is Pilates to pop music, we are pairing up with 24-Hour Fitness to offer free Pop Pilates classes all over the nation. And that day, our certified instructors, who you can find at the gym right now at your local 24-Hour Fitness, they'll be putting on a Pop Paradise party. So for those who come early, you'll get like a cute Hawaiian flower for your hair. And it'll just be like tropical themed, really fun way to end the summer. And it's a good way to get into the gym or take a class for free. You don't even need a membership. So that's what that is.
Yeah, sounds awesome. Thank you. We got to take a real quick break. Our guest is Cassey Ho right now on the Swole Patrol. Like I said, one real quick break.
I want to welcome True Niagen to the show. True Niagen, of course, is a dietary supplement designed to boost a key cellular resource called NAD, or nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide. A lot of research today on NAD. While the science is preliminary, studies are really showing some promising results. I've been watching this carefully. And what's exciting about these studies, it indicates the research suggests that increased NAD levels may potentially help with cellular metabolism, regulate circadian rhythm, and they're even hopeful that it may slow the effects of aging. I take it because the research looks very compelling. Again, these studies are all very early. The science, though, is impressive. Biohacking community has gotten on board with this. I've been intrigued by the possibilities surrounding NAD and the research behind True Niagen. I suggest you check out their website for yourself. Back in June, I had the chance to speak with the company's chief scientific advisor, Dr. Charles Brenner, here on this podcast, and it was a fascinating discussion that really piqued my interest in all the possible applications for a product like this. Definitely check out that episode, and to learn more about the research, science, and the True Niagen supplements, visit drdrew.com/True Niagen. That's my site, drdrew.com/TRUNIAGEN. True Niagen.
Welcome back to the one and only Swole Patrol. Our guest is the woman behind Blogilates at blogilates.com. She has 500 million views on her YouTube videos that she has put up. And we have already gone over that she believes in content over just booty pics, which is something it sounds silly, but nowadays that's really important because we live in a very weird fitness world. where
You know what's so funny? I don't know if you've noticed, but as a woman, I noticed that there's this specific booty picture shot stance where you stand with one leg behind the other one's in front. You do like this crazy twist, and all the girls' butts like look super huge. So funny because I tried that just for fun to see what I would get. I got nothing.
Yeah.
But if you look on Instagram, there's this one specific shot that everybody takes. It's so weird.
You're right. No, you're exactly. They scissor the legs and they twist at the torso, the mid torso there.
They do. Is it a selfie or? Is it...
No, sometimes the upper selfie where you get like the down view of the booty. Another thing that's so strange is like how that has become the marquee body part, and them titties have gone by the wayside.
Well, some of it people would argue is cultural appropriation. We've started to make, African American body types have become more idealized.
Okay, that's not cultural appropriation. That's boners finally getting a chance to speak for themselves.
I'm just saying.
I'm telling you, man. We talked about it on This Life. Finally, straight men have control of the images that they get to view, as opposed to gay males and straight women and straight women who are controlled the fashion industry and magazine industry. Now guys have control, and they go and they're like, "Oh, I don't need this size 0. That shit out of my face."
But then now they're going the other direction now, where they're sort of exaggerating symptoms.
Yeah, it gets out of control. Then you get Iggy Azalea, and she looks like a minotaur.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, every 10, 20 years, we're going to get a new body part that's going to be the new obsession. I mean, back in the 90s, it was big boobs. Now it's a big butt. In the 20s, you've got looking like a boy figure, very skinny, no chest, no hips. And then in the Renaissance times, it's the more voluptuous you are, it means the richer you are and more attractive you are. Like, it's just always changing.
It's and I cannot explain it. I don't know what it is that creates that change. It's hard to explain.
It is hard to explain.
I mean, it's easy to say,
it's media. And like you're right in saying that now with the media switching over to social media, now you get a bigger opinion instead of the opinion of magazine editors and, TV people, what they think should be hot.
Well,
and now the people are choosing.
For
so
males,
I think that's why you had this shift.
For males, I really believe there's sort of a window from like 12 to 14 where they form their preferences. And what they're seeing, of course, must help, form that preference. But it's not strictly speaking what rains down on them, because they sort of they move in one direction or another always. So it's weird.
Yeah, because then you get married and then you want what your wife isn't.
Not me.
I know. Well, not me either.
Yeah,
but that's why, because I got 2 chances. Blogilates.com again, the website, and then on YouTube you can find her by looking for Cassey Ho at Cassey Ho. At Blogilates on Twitter. I one last question. You talked about how you work into your exercise routine some powerlifting. Have you found it incredibly difficult to get through to mostly women that you, as a very petite, muscular, thin woman, need to deadlift and squat and bench press and all these things that are typically associated with hulking, massive, linebackers?
I feel like the specific audience that I have, they're not scared of the usual, oh my gosh, if I lift a 10-pound weight, am I going to turn into the Hulk? Like, we don't have that mentality in our community because we've shifted our focus to getting stronger, whatever that means with how your body looks. And so recently I've been sharing my weighted routines in addition to my Pilates routines, and people are really liking that, hey, like, she's trying something new, like, this is cool, and it gets them more comfortable to get into the gym. Also, a lot of my fans start working out at home, and so they really just want something that is accessible to do. And so the next step for them when they get into the gym, they're just like, how do I go into that squat rack and not feel intimidated? For us, it's dealing with different issues. It's more about confidence instead of being like, oh my gosh, I'm going to look like a man.
I wonder if we should go over some basic exercises that some basic recommendations.
That is it's not a bad point.
To sort of motivate people to go to her if they're interested in the YouTube page.
Yeah, if you were going to give it like I want to say a daily breakdown, but you already talked about how it can change from day to day. If you were to construct a perfect week of training, what would it look like?
Well, for me or for a beginner, or what are we talking about?
An average person.
Yeah, I would say that a beginner to
somebody who likes working out and is sort of exploring different techniques.
Okay, got it. So we have a free workout calendar on our blog, blogalates.com, where I give you either 28-day program or 30-day program where we focus on a different muscle group every single day. There's also rest day involved in the week. And so it might be like Monday, upper body, Tuesday is butt and legs. And so this is already set out in a calendar, and you get to check off different YouTube videos every single day. And so if you check all of that off, you're like set and ready to go. So some of the days may include some cardio and HIIT. Some may be straight up just like body weight exercises. But again, all of these can be done from home. So for the beginner, that's a really great way to get started without feeling intimidated, without having anyone like watch you. And also for the more intermediate advanced people, just don't do any of the modifications and you will sweat like crazy and be sore for sure.
Awesome. And that is, again, blogalates.com. You can find all of that there. Cassey, I really appreciate talking to you.
It was really fun. Thank you, guys.
Cassey Ho, thank you so much. So we have some time for some questions. I hit up the good old Instagram, and on my Instagram story I said, hey, who's got questions for Swole Patrol? And a bunch of people came through. So, Dr. Drew, let's
I'm ready.
Go to it. Where did Stinky Pinky go? Nowhere in my brain.
Did you see a fentanyl sentinel?
That's a great one.
Now, what would it be, though? What would fentanyl sentinel be? It would be opiate
drug,
opioid, harbinger, crier.
Yeah,
The sentinel's hard.
Sentinel's hard, man.
Yeah.
I'm short and stout, built like a brick. I want to lean out. Is weight training right for me? Absolutely. Complex movements is I can't whether you're gaining weight, losing weight, strength or hypertrophy. Focusing on complex movements that involve numerous joints and activity and involve a lot of really engage a lot of musculature at one time.
And get the Swole meat program going.
Yeah, dude. Go for it. I'm not a carnivore diet promoter. I'm not a full-fledged.
Why?
Because I don't think that
we can't really say it yet. We don't know.
Right. I also think that there's no upside for me.
After you put me on it.
No, I did not. I put you on a more meat-based ketogenic diet. Doesn't mean I necessarily am a full-on carnivore proponent.
Right.
I think there's a lot of value in the micronutrients and the fiber that comes with green vegetables.
Yes.
I'm a big believer.
Agreed.
Now, basing everything around a higher fat, higher protein diet, I think is very, very, very smart. I don't think going full Sean Baker and eating nothing but meat and water is what's necessary.
Do you see that Jordan Peterson's doing that too now?
I do, and he's getting great results. And listen, I'm nor am I qualified to poo-poo that. I'm saying for my personal, I actually have mental benefits, physiological, psychological benefits to having more plant matter in my diet. So, what workouts can I do to crush my love handles? I recommend the number one for your love handles. The number one the number one exercise I can recommend is called table push, and you actually sit down at the table to eat more food and push the table away from you, because that's the only thing that really gets rid of your love handles, and that's diet. You can train all you want.
But be careful. Don't focus on it too much, because you can actually get body dysmorphia just focusing on that.
Fine, but
some people just have a pad there, and that's the way it goes.
Well, yeah, but if his question is how can I crush my love handles, it's not about exercise. It's really about diet.
Yeah.
Now, of course, exercise is a very useful adjunct, and I would recommend, just like I said to the last question, you compound exercises and mix in interval training. Really, if weight loss and body fat losses is a priority, day one. This is what I do, and I feel like that's a priority for me is body fat loss and muscle maintenance more so than getting bigger. Day one. So let's say just on a week, it'd be Monday. Monday, I do resistance training, complex movements, only maybe 3 or 4 exercises in a workout for me. Day 2, interval training. Day 3, rest. Repeat. So Monday, weight training. Tuesday, interval training. Wednesday, rest. Thursday, the cycle starts all over. And that's how I go. That's how I live my life. And
you do all that grappling and stuff.
I was going to say, I engage in a lot of other physical activity above and beyond my just exercise for my physique.
Yeah.
But I think that if you're not doing that, it doesn't matter. I think that's a great way to balance it out. And if you're looking for, like I said, body fat loss with muscle retention, that seems to be, it works for me, and I recommend it.
Yep.
And then just don't eat so much, man. That really is what a lot of it is made of. Dr. Drew's seen great results on a meat-based diet, and so is Dr. Baker, and so is Jordan Peterson. And I'm not poo-pooing that. What I will say is that one thing goes: whatever diet works for you, you gotta stop eating so goddamn much. People, they always the number one question people always.
Yeah, but the one thing that all the diet research shows is if you're starving all the time, you're going to eat.
Right.
And so you do have to find ways of managing that.
One of the biggest factors I say when people talk about what diet should I follow, I go, first off, you got to find out what's right for your body chemistry. Secondly, sustainability.
Yeah.
It's a big factor.
Sustainability is key.
If you're not going to intermittent fast, if you're not going to go 16, 18 hours without eating, you just can't because of who you are, then don't do it. If you prefer to eat 5, 6 smaller meals, then so be it. I know that doesn't work for me.
No.
If you are someone who knows you need carbohydrates, or else you just life is miserable.
Well,
then eat.
But if you don't know that till you've tried to substitute it with something else. I mean, I love carbohydrates, but I feel a lot better without them. I love.
Yeah,
but I'm like you with
some people.
JD with whiskey.
Some people don't feel a lot better without it.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying you got to experiment a little bit to know the difference.
And if you want to be vegan, be vegan. But whatever works for you. I'm just saying there's one key factor that goes with all diets. You can't fucking eat till once you're full, you can't keep going. It just doesn't work that way. You need to have some self-restraint and get to understand what it's like to not overfeed yourself.
Yes, for sure.
And that goes for you 20-year-old, 22-year-old guys that want to bulk up. There's this common misconception. Like pro bodybuilders will do it, and you think that that's going to work for you. One, it's not. They have amazing genetics, and they use more steroids than you can ever dream of. So don't do I'm going to gain 85 pounds. Oh, 56 pounds of it's fucking pure blubber, and then I'm going to shred down, and I'm going to keep all that muscle. No, listen, it doesn't work for the non-genetically gifted and the guy who isn't taking 5,000 milligrams of testosterone every week and washing it down with human growth hormone. That's how that shit goes. So take Flex Magazine and wipe your asshole with it. Because that's, I mean, honestly.
Well, you can take a bunch of Deca and.
Yeah,
roid out.
Or hit me up on Instagram. I'll give you a cycle if that's what you want to do. But don't conflate the two.
Yeah.
Is my point. Understand that your human body is designed in a way so that when you're full, you're full. And frankly, if you want to lose body fat, you got to stop before you're full. You got to leave a little left in the tank, and it sucks. Absolutely sucks.
Let's go back to more questions.
I want to eat all this.
I
want to eat all this food here, but I can't.
Yeah. Why? Why can't you? Or why do you want to eat it? No,
I ate enough.
He can take some with him if he wants. Believe me, I'll eventually get to that. I plow through stuff as the days go on. So,
let's see.
I ate all the bacon.
I noticed.
Not
that.
a question, but a comment.
Sausage.
Tell Dr. Drew that Costco has high quality ribeye for $9.99 a pound.
Oh.
New York strip for $7.99 a pound. He's always saying how expensive meat is, and it really isn't. If you go to Costco,
Okay.
buying the grass-fed
All
stuff
right.
at Whole Foods is expensive, though.
I can't see Drew at Costco. First of all,
Well,
I
here's
would
the
have
issue.
to go.
Time is as important as cost. And going to Costco and loading up and having room in a freezer and that kind of stuff. That's all.
May have
I
to
won't
do
go
it,
back.
though.
I won't go back because an Asian lady asked me to bring her cart to her car because she thought I worked there. Just like the first brown
But
person. she saw.
we
I
use
may
Butcher
start going
Box.
to Costco.
Butcher Box.
Butcher Box ribs.
Yeah, it's a great inexpensive way to deal with it. So do that.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yep.
So those are the questions I have. Do you have any email questions?
I do indeed. We have a question here. Let me grab it up. This is a 39-year-old female lost too much weight. No, I don't know. What are your thoughts about alternating weightlifting programs throughout the week? This is from Ethan, I think it is, or Eaton. 5x5.
Last name Beaver.
Yeah, 5x5 2 days a week. Higher ups with manageable weight 3 times a week. 2 days of 5-3-1, etc. Often I find myself going overboard when I work the same muscle twice a week with just one.
I don't understand it.
I don't understand the
spoke
question,
too fast.
but I feel like he's answering the question in the question. He works for him to alternate.
What are your thoughts about
intensity.
alternating weightlifting programs throughout the week? 5x5, 2 days a week, and higher? No, it's a terrible idea. It's a terrible idea. You can't do 5-3-1 on 2 days and 5x5 on another couple days. That's not. Those programs are designed to meet certain criteria.
How do you get all the muscle groups done too?
Well, and it's just not. It's not the way that it does. It's a terrible idea, Ethan. Stick to one. 5-3-1 program is awesome. The 4-day option, if you have the availability of the 4-day option of 5-3-1, is damn near perfect for most people. So there you go.
All right. This is first. I want to say I'm a subscriber to Soul Patrol. This is from Mike. I want to work for an airline and we get random drug tests. I am a jiu-jitsu practitioner. I would like to take CBD for pain. Do you know if CBD would show up in the drug test?
That's a good question.
It is a good question.
Know. I think you'd know better than I would.
It depends on what test they're doing, right?
Yeah.
And it could show up. I would check with your employee assistance program, and see what they're doing and get through with that. My bet is that the airlines are so stringent. Is that what he said? He's a airline worker. Yeah.
The answer is no. Don't take it. Why take a chance? I think CBD is great. Don't take a chance, dude. Get yourself awesome curcumin, an awesome curcumin supplement. It works great. I recommend curcumin to anyone who has any joint pain or any pain from if you're an MMA fighter or something. Curcumin is awesome.
There's also a omega-3 fatty acid program, a 4-to-1 ratio.
4-to-1 ratio of EPA to DHA.
Yeah, Omax has that in its product.
But I believe they have CBD in there.
No. They have one without.
They have one without?
Yeah,
okay.
And if they do, check it out. But anyway, the idea is the 4-to-1 is better, good for joints. So that's
a diet that helps with inflammation is going to help.
And there's nothing wrong with Tylenol.
Well, it fucks up your stomach, some people.
Tylenol?
Doesn't it fuck up your stomach?
No, everything else does. Tylenol does not.
Okay.
Tylenol fucks up your liver if you're drinking or take too much. Otherwise, it's harmless.
How much is too much?
More than 1,000 milligrams 3 times a day. It should be max. And if you're drinking really much of any alcohol, you shouldn't be sustaining that. You can tolerate it, but shouldn't be taking it all the time. But we have rheumatoid arthritis patients that take that for decades. No problem.
All right.
And the anti-inflammatories, the non-steroidals, have all kinds of issues with them, and aspirin can have some issues too. But Tylenol is harmless.
All right, there you go. That's good advice from a doctor.
Hey there, I've tried the keto diet. I've been getting a lot of cramping. Have you ever heard of that?
Yeah.
Really?
You're very, very low in your electrolytes. You got to get some good sea salt up in there, or get an
hydrolyte.
Hydrolyte. Let's say get a good low sugar electrolyte product.
And I'll tell you what, and that TheraWorks stuff that I've been using, it actually is good for cramping. If you're TheraWorks, it's a foam. It actually changes the blood supply at the surface of the muscle. Nice. And what
happens when you put it in your dick?
Don't. It was
Well, it helped like my texting thumbs, and
it's not ache. It's not for aching. It's for spasm, muscle spasm. That's what he's talking about. And here's where it came. It was to control staph and wrestlers.
Okay.
Because it was used in children in ICUs and things for all kinds of things for infection control. And they started using it for staph, for MRSA on wrestlers, and they noticed they improved recovery time and no cramping. And so they started studying that, and lo and behold, it does work for that. So.
And is it also an
It's over the counter.
No, but is it also? I mean, does it also get rid of MRSA and stuff like that?
Yeah. They get rid of but
not get rid of, but it will help
transmission. Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah. So for your grappling and stuff,
I'm always worried about staph.
Oh, put this stuff on.
I use a special soap, the whole thing.
Oh, this is great. This is great. They use it in the ICU seriously for babies and stuff. So, all right, those are my questions.
Good. That was a good little tag.
Good Swole Patrol.
Hey everybody, it is the Swole Patrol podcast. You can find me on Twitter at Mike Catherwood, and Dr. Drew is at Dr. Drew, of course. Join the email list today. Send your questions, drdrew.com/contact, and put Swole at the top of the email so we can get your comments. And this will get you a weekly email reminder with a link to this show and all the great shows that Dr. Drew and I do, and all the shows that Dr. Drew does by himself, and of course with Adam Carolla, the great Ace Man. Please tell a friend and subscribe on iTunes. Don't forget to rate us 5 stars, and on Podbean or Google Play. All 3 help us out. We also are on YouTube/Dr. Drew, and hope you can give us all your comments, even if you're a troll and you want to destroy our feelings and our emotions. Support our sponsors and the show. Click on the banners on drdrew.com for the links for special discounts for the products Dr. Drew and I endorse 100%. Send questions and comments to our Facebook page, facebook.com/Swole Patrol Podcast, or on Twitter @Swole Patrol Pod. And be good, be swole. #Swole Patrol.